Hi, everyone. This is Reverend David Miller. I'm the senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Fairfax in Fairfax, Virginia. Um, as a Unitarian Universalist, I know that many in our congregations, and certainly in our country and even in the world, have a great deal of angst and anxiety about the upcoming election. And I thought it'd be good to have a conversation with my good and great friend, Reverend Abhi Janamanchi, someone whose wisdom I deeply respect, about the next couple of weeks and what we are calling today faith, hope, anxiety, and fear. And just talk about that a little bit and maybe share some thoughts with you, whoever you are out there in videocast land, in a way that hopefully will put some things in perspective and perhaps maybe even give us a little something to chew on for the next couple of weeks. So, welcome, Abhi. I'm so glad that you are here with me. Um,
Thank you, David. It's good to be with you, as always. And friends, I'm Reverend Abhi Janamanchi. I serve the Cedar Unitarian Universalist congregation in Bethesda, Maryland. And I'm delighted to join my dear friend David in this conversation about faith, hope, anxiety, and fear in these times, and not necessarily in that order.
that's right. We had talked about this earlier, and we both decided that we could talk about anxiety and fear. Weren't sure about faith and hope, but we're going to give that a shot today. um, so, how are you feeling coming into this election and the next couple of weeks? So what's going on with you with regards to that?
Well, I'm feeling a mix of emotions. Sense of anticipation, some excitement, and some responsibility and anxiety. It depends on where I am and what newspaper or media article I'm reading or which video segment I'm watching. That's impacting both my personal life and my ministry. Uh, you know, uh, there are times when I am feeling focused, that there seems to be clarity and purpose around what I feel I need to be engaged in, and then and then it just flips, and I'm anxious and overwhelmed about what is upon us and what we're going to be facing and going through in the next few weeks and going forward.
Yeah. I echo that a great deal. I talked to my congregation about that this past Sunday, and we talked about anxiety and hope and where we were. And, I'm feeling those things. Of course, we all are feeling those things from all different perspectives. People are feeling that. What I know is that one of the good things about my Unitarian Universalist faith is that there are values that hold me, and those values that hold me uh, compel me to try and practice them as best I can, which means that in the coming election, one of the things that we decided, and we're going to talk about this in the next couple of weeks, is we were going to come up with an A plan and a B plan, depending on how the election went. And one of the things that we decided for our worship on the 3rd, which is the week before the election, is that what we wanted to say is there is no A plan and B plan, because what we need to do as a congregation is to follow through with who we are, the values that we believe in, the actions that we're going to take based upon those values, no matter what happens. And that gives me a little bit of a sense of grounding, even though my anxiety is still pretty high about what's going to happen. And so that sense of grounding I'm grateful for, because this congregation, and I know that Cedar Lane is a joyful congregation with lots of energy, lots of good work that we've been doing. And as Unitarian Universalists, we always sort of look into deeds, not creeds, as we often say. And so what is it that we can do to center ourselves, ground ourselves in who we are, and maintain that sort of faith and hope in the face of lots of anxiety?
Yeah, it's kind of similar where we are, and I know you and I talked about what we were going to focus on in our respective worship services on those Sundays. So we're kind of also going along the same path, in trying to create space, on the third, which is the Sunday before the election, to really reflect on the power of our voices. Uh, as citizens of a democratic society, and drawing on our values and our principles as as the quintessential American faith, that is so much in alignment with who we are as a nation, and sharing the same similar civic principles, and really engaging, not just in the reflection of who we are, but as you said, about how we put those values out in the world, where our children and grandchildren can see them, you know, uh,
Yeah.
and our responsibility, and the impact of our actions, and recognizing that whatever happens, we're still going to be together. We're still going to be engaged as a congregation, and bringing our faith out into the world.
Yeah.
So,
One of our, go ahead.
David, how do you see all this, impacting people in your congregation? What are you seeing?
Well, people are on all sorts of places on the continuum, as I usually call it. The continuum is uh, things will not be too bad to things are a disaster. And, people fall on all different places in that continuum. And the need to address that is very real. Um, Recently, we both attended a conference called the Mosaic Conference. It was actually hosted in Cedar Lane this year, and in Bethesda, which is where Abhi's congregation is. And one of our great friends and a mentor, I know both of ours, William Singford, the former president of the UUA, gave a really, to me, a really important talk. And he said, we cannot cut out joy and celebration in the midst of all this hard work. And that is such an important message for me to hear, and I think it's an important message for my congregants to hear. There's a ton of anxiety. There's a ton of fear in the world. Pundits every day on social media and the news, which we should all avoid every once in a while. And, we can get wrapped up in that and forget the things that we are grateful for. We're going to do 30 days of gratitude again in November, but we're going to do it congregation wide. I've often done it, and I know other colleagues and friends have done it, but we're going to do it congregation wide because we want to be able to remind ourselves of things that we are grateful for, the joy that we see in the world, things we can celebrate, whether they're personal or broader in our community. So we don't get lost in all that frustration, anger, or despair, because it's so easy to get lost in that and forget some of these other things. But I think part of our job in many ways is to lift that up, to lift it up in worship, to lift it up in our daily lives, and to help hold each other as we traverse this difficult time in our history.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very similar things that I'm seeing at Cedar Lane. There is anxiety and uncertainty. People are feeling anxious about the outcome of the election and what it could mean for our future, with concerns about voting and other issues relating to that. And the landscape does feel unstable, and uncertainty can increase stress or fear, which is also what I'm noticing. I'm also noticing increased engagement. People are working through their anxiety by getting more involved. I have members who are out every weekend and knocking doors in Pennsylvania and Virginia, and even traveling to Montana. I have a few people who are engaged in efforts there in how to mobilize and activate and get people engaged in this. Even our youth, I have some youth who are organizing to reach out to young adults in college. These are some of the youth are not eligible to vote. I was so inspired, David, when I heard that from one of our youth, that she's involved in this group that's reaching out to young college voters, first-time voters, and getting them to go and vote.
Yes.
So, those are things that I feel really are pointing to, how we can be present to the anxiety and fear, but not be paralyzed by it.
Yes. And another, I think, incredibly vital thing for us to remember, there needs to be joy, celebration, gratitude, and action, but this is not a short-term thing. These challenges are incredibly serious. They're serious to our democracy. They're serious to voting rights. They're serious to reproductive choice. They're serious to all kinds of things. And these are not short-term things. These are things that will be challenges for months and years to come. And the ramifications of whatever happens, whoever wins in this election, will not end with whatever happens in this election. And so the need for us to maintain our center, so to speak, and to be together and to support each other and to form bonds in the community, whether it's just a community dinner where we're all eating together, or a joint worship on Sunday where we're lifting up things of worth. These are all important tools for this long haul that we are in right now. And I don't, when we talk about faith, hope, anxiety, and fear, all those things can coexist at the same time.
Right. And I know you're seeing this in Fairfax as well, that despite the anxiety and stress, there's also that sense of hope and resilience that I'm witnessing among people, and folks actually leaning more into their faith and their UU values, justice, equity, love, and seeing love differently as to what it means to be at the center of our faith and the center of our value system, at the center of how we live in this time and in this world, and how that guides their thoughts and their actions. And one member mentioned to me that the election feels like a test of our values, and therefore it's an opportunity for us to affirm our commitment to what we say we are committed to, and how we can utilize our values to make a positive impact. So that's again aspects that are giving me me some inspiration when I'm doom scrolling and
Yes, we are human too, but
Yep.
we look at all the stuff that everybody else looks.
Yes, and we keep sharing all these wonderful things with each other and raising our anxiety, usually early in the morning, right?
We shouldn't tell people that.
Well, we should tell people, please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do what we do.
Yeah. The piece about hope, David, we talk a lot about hope. After all, you and I, our business is hope. We're peddlers of hope, in a good way. But
give them hope, not hell, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's the hope that I find meaningful as a Unitarian Universalist, is what Václav Havel once said, and I'm paraphrasing him. He said something that has always stuck with me, that hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of the outcome.
Mm. Mm. Yes.
And to me, that's what Unitarian Universalism points us toward. It's not optimism. It's not this Panglossian feeling of something is bright and sunny out there that we're eventually going to get to, but to recognize that it's not about the outcome. It is about the journey and being engaged in it, even if it doesn't feel.
Faith in things unseen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Beautiful. Well, we wanted to get together, and this may be the first of numerous ones of these. It may just be the only one of these, but we wanted to get together and have an opportunity to express some of these thoughts because we know that others are sharing them, certainly in our congregations and beyond in our tradition. And hopefully, this gives people an opportunity to think about not just the anxiety and the despair and the fear, but the reasons why there's energy in almost electric energy in our congregations right now, too, is that, there are things happening that are difficult and challenging and dangerous. But on the flip side of that, there are, in part, because of what's happening in the world, it's calling us to a deeper practice of who we are as Unitarian Universalists, a deeper understanding of our call in the world, a deeper need for us to connect and be together, and an opportunity for us, a huge opportunity for us to utilize our faith and our values to make a difference in the lives of ourselves, each other, and the world.
Right. Now, David, are you planning any special gatherings after the election?
Well, on Wednesday, November 6th, we're planning to do a potluck dinner in our congregation, I think at 6 o'clock. And we're also going to we did that on purpose. We wanted to break bread and be together and just have an opportunity to commune with each other. And then we're going to do a small service, candle lighting vigil service, just so people can center themselves and have an opportunity to be together. And then, of course, the next Sunday, we will gather as usual on Sunday and process together in many ways whatever has happened, and then move on from there. And you?
Yeah, we're doing something similar. Wednesday at 6 o'clock, like you, being a food-based religion, we're also going to have some food, soup supper, and then a candle lighting, vigil gathering. Something that holds space for people to be together and reflect and be prepared. And yes, on Sunday, the following Sunday as well, we're thinking about something, of creating space in a different way. So have a shorter service, which is again going to be more Vespers like, and then create space for conversations among people, so they have a chance to check in and touch base. So we're kind of imagining that as a way to go forward past the election.
It's great. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We will consider stealing that. Thank you.
Oh, that's
well, it's so great to talk to you, and thank you so much for agreeing to join me in this conversation. We'll see where it goes from here, and of course, all of us will see where we head next. And as you have said today, and as we continue to say, we will do our best to answer the call to put love at the center of all we do, and practice this faith as best we can by trying to do that every day.
Indeed.
So thank you. We'll talk to you soon. And thank you, everyone, whoever's watching. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.